Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Hawkman issue number 9. The Deathbringers Attack, guys. It's finally happening. It's finally happening. We expected that this would probably be a storyline that wraps up in 12 issues, and we're at issue 9 here, so we need to get the story going a little bit. We've had 9 issues of basically Hawkman, Carter Hall going on basically a scavenger hunt through his various past lives, trying to piece together all the information he can as to how to stop the Deathbringers. And, after last issue, when he travels back in the past to Krypton, where he met his Kryptonian counterpart in the past, Qatar All, and discovered that they did build a weapon on Krypton that could potentially defeat the Deathbringers, but unfortunately it was destroyed when Krypton was destroyed. And so he finds himself back in the present, and he finds himself back in London at Madame Xanadu's place, where he wants to once again look at the shell of Allsea, where that he utilized when he first met with Madame Xanadu back in an early issue, I think 4 or 5 or whatever. But in any event, he explains to Madame Xanadu that, what's going on, and that, they've got to prepare for the Deathbringers, and the only way that he can figure a way to stop the Deathbringers is that he wants to use the shell of Allsea to try to find some way to get all his incarnations, his past incarnations that he met with, if he could somehow bring them to the present, bring him with him. Because there was that moment when he was with his Kryptonian counterpart last issue, where it almost seemed like his Kryptonian counterpart existed in the same space-time as he did. And that suggested to Carter Hall, it suggests to Hawkman that maybe all of his past incarnations can exist at the same time period, at the same time in time and space, to defeat the Deathbringers. Now, this entire issue plays out. It reminds me of the opening scene to basically Avengers Infinity War, where basically Tony Stark and Doctor Strange, where they're and David Banner are basically there as Thanos' forces land in New York City. All of a sudden, communications go out. There's chaos everywhere, people running in the streets. That's how this scene basically opens, only it's in London, not New York. And London starts, chaos is happening. Brian Hitch does a fantastic job creating these epic cinematic-like pages, illustrated beautifully. Brian Hitch does the art. The inkers, Hitch and Andrew Curry, helps Hitch on the inks. Jeremiah Skipper is the colorist, and Starkings and Comic Craft do the letters. Just a fantastic job, and it feels very cinematic in scope. This reminds me, the last time I saw Brian Hitch artistically do something this well, I almost have to go back to his original Ultimate Avengers, the Ultimates. I mean, that was amazing. This is amazing. This is his best art so far in the 9 issues, and the previous 8 issues have been fantastic. This is really good stuff. Brian Hitch, man, just hitting it out of the park. The way the Deathbringers sort of, they lower themselves from space onto just above London, calling out Carter Hall, calling out the Deathbringer, calling him out. And of course, his former lieutenant there, I forget his name. What the heck's his name? Idam, right? Idam, basically lowering himself down to the surface, calling out Hawkman, basically to finally take him out. Hawkman basically battling him. I mean, it looks like it's a lost cause, because the Deathbringers are so powerful. There's so many of them. There's a lot more than 3, as Hawkman says. How are they going to defeat the Deathbringers? I don't know. The Justice League's nowhere to be found. I don't know if Hawkman didn't bother to tell him. I guess it's odd that Hawkman's first instinct was to go to Madame Xanadu's office as opposed to the Hall of Justice and say, "Hey guys, you don't mind me saying, instead of focusing on the totality, could you help me with the Deathbringers here? Because we got a problem." But in any event, epic in scale, epic in scope, and basically it ends with basically Hawkman offering up his life to Idam, saying, "Look, please spare these people their lives, spare London, spare the planet Earth. You can torture me for eons. You know that I reincarnate. You can literally torture me forever and ever a day. I'll sacrifice myself to you. If you hate me that much, let me be the sacrifice." And of course, that would also ultimately redeem Hawkman, because, as we know, as part of his origin, the more people he saves, the better for him, because he is cursed to forever reincarnate into different lives until such time as he saves as many lives as he took when he was the leader of the Deathbringers. Robert Venditti, he's done a fantastic job here. Guys, I got no complaints about this issue. I got to give this a solid 8.5. This out of 10. This feels cinematic in scope. I got to give the art a 9.5 out of 10. Almost a perfect score in the art. It's so fantastic. Guys, check out Hawkman number 9. And the great thing about it is the first, it's so detailed, and in the first few pages, it's all, the details all there. It explains all that happened in the previous 8 issues. You could literally, this is actually a self-contained comic book. That's what's great. You could probably just collect this from this point on to issue 12, where the arc probably concludes. So guys, check out Hawkman number 9. Tell me what you think about it. Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. And until next time, hit the subscribe button and Comic Boom out.